Hi viewers, this is Mahtab with Tech and Travel. Here we will discuss about the technology, the wonders, the discoveries, and sometimes, yes, about travel. Today we are going to discuss about the lunar exploration and the latest launch of ISRO Chandrayaan-3. Our video today consists on 5 chapters. Chapter 1 we will discuss the basic knowledge of the moon, like calendar of the moon and what is the weather on the moon. Second chapter we will discuss about the north and the south pole of the moon. What are the attractions for scientists are there. In chapter 3 we will discuss how many missions and the status of the missions of the moon have been launched from Earth and where we are as of now. And in chapter 4 we will discuss the background of Chandrayaan-3, which is Chandrayaan-1 and Chandrayaan-2, which India has launched. And then finally in chapter 5 we will discuss in detail the Chandrayaan-3. What is the outcome, what is the objectives, what they have achieved till now, and what they are suspecting to achieve. The moon doesn't have day and night cycle as we have on Earth. Moon is tidally locked with the Earth and facing towards the Earth. So the face of the moon, what we are watching daily basis, it is the same. All over the year, all over the month, we are watching on the same face of the moon. We never see the far side of the moon as it is tidally locked with the Earth. One lunar day consists of day and night is approximately 29.5 Earth days when the moon complete its one lunar day, which means one day is equals to 14.75 Earth days and one night also equals to 14.75 Earth nights. So then the moon is completing one spin towards on its axis. Another interesting factor on moon that it doesn't have atmosphere, which means when the sunrise becomes, at that time it is not like on Earth that sunrise is slowly glowing and shining the skies, but on moon when sunrise it is like switch on and switch off of the light. So sunrise is sudden and sunset also it is sudden. So suddenly it will become a day and suddenly it will become a night on moon. Let's talk about the weather on the moon. The weather on the moon is very extreme. In daytime the temperature on the moon is around 120 degrees Celsius and in the night time it decreases to minus 130 degrees Celsius. Chapter 2. Let's talk about the polar regions of the moon, the north and the south pole. The polar region of the moon, including the south pole and the north pole, experience some of the most extreme temperature fluctuation due to their proximity to the permanently shadowed craters, where sunlight never reaches. These areas can become incredibly cold, possibly reaching temperature even lower than what we have discussed earlier, where ice is believed to exist, and these permanently shadowed regions protected from the sun's heat. Lunar South Pole, the most interesting and attractive region for scientists and explorations. That South Pole is having a permanently shadowed craters where the sunlight never reaches. There are some part of the South Pole where the sunlight never reaches, and that is the area where we are expecting that the frozen water, which is ice, could be found. On the South Pole there is a famous crater which is called Shackleton crater, one of the largest and best known permanently shadowed craters at the South Pole, named after the polar explorer Ernest Shackleton. Lunar North Pole. It is not similar to South Pole because of the lunar axial tilt. Some areas on the North Pole are receiving continuous sunlight and there are no permanent shadowed crater there. So that's why the North Pole of the moon also could have the extreme hot temperature, extreme temperature, what we have discussed earlier on the equator of the moon. The North Pole of the moon is less explored and it doesn't have that much of attraction what South Pole have, because the South Pole, what we are discussing right now, that it might have the frozen water. That's why it has the more attraction for scientists and exploration. Chapter 3. We'll discuss about the lunar missions. There is a very famous question people are asking, that why after 1972 there was no lunar mission. People didn't try, the scientists did not try to reach on the moon. Actually, this argument is not correct. The journey started in 1958 when August 17 USA launched the first lunar mission named Pioneer 0. It was not successful, but it was the start of the lunar exploration. Approximately after 1 year, in September 1959, there was first successful lunar mission when first spacecraft reached on lunar surface. After 10 years of that first successful lunar mission, in 1969, Apollo 11, where the first man stepped on the moon, the first crewed mission was successful. And after that, up to 1972, total 6 crewed missions have been took place, and all of them was successful. And after the Apollo 17, the last crewed mission of the moon, there are a lot of missions which are robotic or orbital, with lander, with rover. A lot of missions already been took place. That is why we can see now the world is now trying to reach on the south pole of the moon. So the lunar exploration was never stopped. It was started in 1958 and it's continued till today. Chapter 4. Let's talk about the background of Chandrayaan mission. Chandrayaan-3 was the first probe launch and unfortunately failed after 312 days. Its lifetime was calculated to be long enough for 2 years, but due to its star tracking system overheating, it malfunctioned and discontinued its connection from Earth. It was supposed to orbit the moon for the rest 1000 days. Chandrayaan-1 has been achieved its 95% of its planned objectives. After 10 years of Chandrayaan-1, Chandrayaan-2 in July 2019, the second installment of Chandrayaan program launched by ISRO. This mission's lander and rover have to make a soft landing on the moon, but mistakes in telemetry were committed and hence resulted in a crash landing. The rover of Chandrayaan-2 did not get the chance to deploy, and ISRO has failed again. Chapter 5. Chandrayaan-3. The history will be created when Chandrayaan-3 will touch down the south pole of the moon on August 23, as this would be the first landing at the lunar south pole. Previous moon landings have primarily occurred on equatorial region of the moon. As we discussed earlier in our video, the south pole of the moon is the most attractive region of the moon where the scientists and the exploration would like to work on, as they are expecting, because it is permanently shadowed crater where the sunlight is not reaching. They are expecting that a lot of frozen water, we can say ice, exists there. So that's why this mission is very important, not only for India but for all the world. There is a huge crater in that area called South Pole Attican Basin in this area. This crater is interesting because it could contain rocks from the deep inside the moon. People are really interested in this place, and both space agencies and private companies want to go there. The reason is that if we find enough water and ice, we could use it to build a station in space. If ISRO mission succeed, that will be a big achievement, a step forward for all the world of lunar exploration. When we are talking about the south pole of the moon and exploring that area, so we should have asked ourselves that how challenging it will be. As we know that part of the moon is totally some part of that area is permanently shadowed craters where the sunlight is not reaching there. Exploring the southern part of the moon is tricky because of its tough terrain, super freezing temperature, which could be colder than minus 230 degrees Celsius, lack of sunlight in some areas, and big holes, what we call craters. There is another challenge in Chandrayaan-3 about the landing on South Pole. The scientists at ISRO has come up with a clever plan for Chandrayaan-3. They made an algorithm unlike the last mission where they guessed how fast the spacecraft was going by looking at pictures. This time Chandrayaan-3 itself will figure out that how fast it is moving towards moon. This idea improved the chances of perfect landing of Chandrayaan-3. Another upgrade in Chandrayaan-3, the legs of the lander. The legs of Chandrayaan-3 are more stronger than Chandrayaan-2. It can support the landing speed of Chandrayaan-3, which is around 10.8 kilometers per hour. Chandrayaan-3 have another upgrade, which is the fuel capacity. It has more fuel, same like we have extra gas in our car. More fuel will help Chandrayaan-3 to maneuver more if it requires to do safe landing. Let's say if the landing spot is not safe for landing, then Chandrayaan-3 itself will maneuver to the safe location. So that extra fuel will help Chandrayaan-3 to land on safe location. Another upgrade is uninterrupted power supply or power source, which will supply the power to the lander in case if it will not land properly, even though it will provide the power. So if the lander will not land safely and crash or start spinning, still it has the solar panels on all the around. That solar panel will help lander to have uninterrupted power supply. Another plus point in Chandrayaan-3 is the super strong rigorous testing. Before Chandrayaan-3 takes its big trip, it's been through a lot of tough tests. Imagine dropping a model of the lander from a helicopter to see how it handles the fall. ISRO has set up special places to pretend to be the moon, where they can see how the lander works in a tricky situation. These tests make sure that the lander can handle stress and strain during the real lunar landing. The primary goal of Chandrayaan-3 is the safe and soft landing on south pole of the moon. Soft landing involves a series of critical tasks that the lander must execute precisely to touch down gently on the lunar surface. These tasks include firing engine at specific times and altitudes, managing fuel usage, accurately scanning lunar features such as hills and craters, and ultimately achieving a successful touchdown. Chandrayaan-3 has been upgraded with the lesson learned of Chandrayaan-2 landing failure. So according to that lesson learned, the upgrade of the software and hardware has been addressed to Chandrayaan-3. Let's talk about the rover Pragyan of Chandrayaan-3. The rover comes with advanced AI technology, allowing it to communicate with lander and assist in various tasks. After separating from the lander and touching down on the moon's surface, the rover embarks on an exciting exploration journey. A standout feature is its ability to maneuver across challenging lunar landscape. It relies on motion technology to reach on its target landing site. AI-powered lunar insight. Pragyan's AI algorithm is a star player in lunar exploration. It can identify traces of water and different minerals on the moon's surface. This remarkable AI skill allows Pragyan to collect valuable data and snap images, which are then beamed back to Earth for thorough research. Chandrayaan-3 rover, the Pragyan, the mission of Pragyan will be unfold on 14 days, which is 14 Earth days and 1 lunar day, where the Chandrayaan-3 will collect the data of some scientific measurement and geological studies. That rover mission on south pole of moon, no doubt strategically, is most important for lunar exploration. On the other side, Russia's Lunar 25 also is going to land on south pole of the moon. Despite of the same landing regions for both the mission, both landers will explore different. Chandrayaan-3 is due to run its experiment for 2 weeks, when Russia Lunar 25 is due to run the experiments for 1 year. Don't forget to subscribe our channel for latest videos and discoveries. Thank you.